So, Shvetashvatara Upanishad, chapter 5, verse 3. You have your mm, photostat copy. Chapter 5, this is we are on page 169.
I don't think we have it.
I think the Swami, he just he
Yeah.
photocopied.
No, it. This is only chapter 4. It's not chapter 5.
Okay, you can.
You can share with me if you want.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's fine.
No, it's
I'll
okay.
listen
It's
along.
just. So, chapter 5, verse 3. This deity, making each individual net diverse on this field, withdraws it. And the Lord, the great self, after creating again the rulers as before, resides over them all. It's kind of a little cumbersome. But then, yeah, I'll explain this. Ekaika jhalam bahuda vikurvan asmin kshetri sanghariti esha deva bhuya srishtva patayastesha sarvadipatyam kuruti mahatma. So it's saying esha dev, this deity that has been, you can say, the subject of this Upanishad, that bright, effulgent being that is in every being and who has created this universe through its own powers hidden itself, like hidden in itself, something like, yeah, sometimes we do forget our real utility. Like Hanuman, he did not realize all his powers with there the hidden within himself, and then his, you can say, compatriots, they reminded him, don't you remember? Oh yes, and then everything came up. So even like most of us have got what infinite strength and power and goodness and blessedness and everything within us. We have to be reminded of that. The whole purpose of studying the scriptures is to remind ourselves this: you have that. And Swami Vivekananda said that there's infinite love and power and everything within you. The infinite strength of the universe is within you. Why have you forgotten? We have forgotten, but this deity has not forgotten. So it creates everything, the universe, through its powers. And how? Is given this deity making each individual net diverse. Every type of knowledge or activity leads to another type of knowledge or activity. It's always like that. Yes, they don't say, be still and know you are God. No, no.
Good luck.
The other day, I was in a convent and in the monastery in a convent, and one of the nuns comes saying, what are you doing whole day? I was just taking it easy. I said, why do you think that I have to do something? Can't I just be something? To be just just pure awareness, that's okay. Why do you have to do? So she said, oh, this is interesting. Yes, that's that's a part of existence. The existence that's near the truth is just to be, and the doing part is just a little on the kind of on the periphery of your being, and you keep on moving about here and so. What exactly is this? Is it? So the commentator says, what is this net? this net is the net of various beings. So here you're saying the commentator says of gods, human being, animals, etc., etc. Means everything. That is, everything in this universe is connected to every other thing. There is nothing that stays isolated or stands alone. There's a kind of a there's a standalone philosophy and standalone. No, there's nothing standalone. We depend on the universe, and the universe depends also on us. The surrounding depend on us. Not only surrounding, even things which we may not be aware of, very far away from us. Yes, even that has an effect on us. So this is the net that you're talking about. So here is a making each individual net diverse. So you start with one, and then so just one, or make it two, and it's three, and the four, there. One wave in the mind, Swami Vivekananda says, gives rise to a series of waves in the old school of logicians. They call it it's a kind of a pervasive uh, psychology of the mind, that one thought gives rise to a series of thoughts. That's the reason why they say it's very difficult to control the mind. You need to first direct the mind onto something, harness its powers and direct, and then people want to control the mind. Do you think it's going to listen to you? Yeah, you go here and then something will appear there. That it's a net, no? And you are caught in it. There, that is you are caught in that net.
Yep.
That deity is not caught in this net. So he's just thrown this out. So this is a kind of similar verse which we have seen in the chapter 3, almost a similar chapter 3, first verse. So that's on page 123 if you're interested. Ananta, there's a so Eko Jalavan. So that is the one with the net. Oh yeah, you got it. Yeah, there that is. So this is the same. You can say more or less the repeat of the concept, not actual words. So I also spoken during that time about in the world of Indra. We have this human world. We have the king of gods. The other gods are like that. Indra is on a kind of a pedestal out there. He likes to be. He's a king, of course. But in his heaven, there is a net. And very interestingly, in magic in Sanskrit or in Indian languages, it's called Indrajal, the net of Indra. Interesting, It's kind of all magic. It's not magic, it's called net. Indra's net. So, in that huge, you can say, heaven, there is a vast net. At the corner of each knot, in the net, there is a gem. So when you look at this net, either from above or from below, there's a vast net and there are gems, studded with gems. All. How vast is this net with the studded gems? Oh, it's vast, vast. How do you know? Yes, it's so you you look at the reflection in one gem and you can see the reflection of the whole net. You hold one gem and you see the reflection of the whole net in it. That is it. The microcosm and the macrocosm are built on the same plan. If you can understand the atom, you can understand the whole universe. It's amazing. So, yes, and now further, if you can look at the reflection of the reflection in the gem, once again you'll see it's like no a net within a net within a net. So there, that's the magic. That's the magic in Indra's heaven. So we run about, we caught, but if we can just simply keep quiet and look within ourselves, that is that gem. And if you can look at it, you can see the whole thing. And once you can know where the connections are, you can snip it up. There. Ah, you're free from the net. So there's a that intranet and all these things. So here it's saying this whole universe is one of various beings, you, I, everybody, all of us, plants, animal, trees, gods, angels, devils. So devils are the more the merrier. Actually, they keep everything spicy and nice and keep everything going on. So even they are there in the net. So they are like those small gems studied inside. So there we are. And what does he do? This what does this deity do? Makes things diverse and withdraws it. It like it kind of throws it and then withdraws it. When at time of dissolution, at a time of creation, you just he breathes out. He breathes it. It's like the breath of the eternal. Everything is like a kind of a breath of the eternal. It's an old concept. Even in the Bible, it's given like he, uh, Jehovah, he breathed in Adam's, and so everything become. Oh, he gave what enlivened. But it's like a breath. So he spreads everything and then with pulls back everything. Like we have now trawlers doing the deep sea fishing. They kind of throw a net and that net keeps on dragging the fish and catching fish. But we have seen, you know, uh, small fishermen just kind of, they have a kind of a net, and this net, uh, they what they do is they whirl it round and then they throw it. It's just the size of this room. And yeah, come over the side.
Yeah. Here. Okay.
Hmm.
Okay.
So and they withdraw it, throw it out over there. It's kind of that same illustration has been given here. So throws at net, creation, withdraws at net, dissolution, and in the middle, whatever we do, jumping about in this net, we are caught in it.
It's Maya.
Oh yes, it's a
And
net
that is
of
Maya.
Maya. So it's non-knowledge, I can say. Yeah. So from non-knowledge comes desire to do something. Let me be many. I like to be. I like to be doing many things. I like to do multitasking. I do this, I do that, and I can do this. And I keep on doing, and then I keep on spreading myself, and keep on. And if I'm sitting alone, I'll call my friend. How are you? How things and this and that, and I'll paint a beautiful picture of Hollywood and this and that, the weather, and keep on. Hey, do you know that this is there? I'm kind of spreading myself out. I should have been doing the opposite, pulled myself out and keep quiet and contemplate on that deity there within me. But no, I like to. So this is non-knowledge. That takes you out. But then, like these two things are like kind of one force drags you out, another force counters that and pulls you in. These the universe is a kind of a play of these two forces called pravritti circling outwards and nivritti circling inwards. You pull yourself inside. So it depends on which predominates. After you've spoken to your friend for 10 minutes, that friend has become thoroughly bored with your explanation, and you become thoroughly bored with. Keep quiet. That's when I'm quiet there. So both these things, they circling forward and circling inward. This is it. It extends to every aspect of nature in the mind.
So that's yin yang.
Yes, it could be called in Taoism yin yang. You go this side. That's why Vedanta says you don't have anything to do with this yin yang. Get transcend this.
The Vernon Bailey Circus and all of Broadway and all of the panoply. You say just close your eyes and sit on a rock.
Yeah, this Barnum and Bailey and this and that, they have also created a mess for this universe. Imagine when you're, in fact, my next Sunday is not next Sunday, the Sunday talk, the last Sunday of this month will be if you're going to base your society on wealth, on, you can say, power, military power, whatever, you're going to have trouble. And for the last 5,000 years, we've seen the trouble that we've created for ourselves, constantly fighting with ourselves. If we can build a society on the basis of knowledge which is there within you, the higher mind, on the super consciousness, which is an aspect of you within all of us. If we can build a society based on the verity or the reality of the super mind, we can have a wonderful society. Yes, we get inklings of Spider-Man and Batman and Catwoman and Catman and this and that. And we have some inkling that a person can be super. But yoga has been shouting about it for the last 3,000 years. The path is through yoga, not the exercise, physical exercise. With that, you can open the door and enter into that realm of super consciousness. And if you can base a society on the reality of that, there you have it. You've now based your reality on the conscious and the subconscious mind. Why? Are we creatures, reptiles, and animals that we have to base a society and a social reality on these two levels only? If you could have based it on, then it would have been a different reality. We will be taking humanity and making them godlike. In India, they tried to do that for the last so many thousands of years. They could succeed only for a few people.
What if society is turning into like separation? Where there's
Society means separation. It's a division.
when there's no compassion.
Which society has displayed compassion? Which society? It means division of labor. It means both the good sides in the human being and the bad sides come and they are constantly in kind of war or tussling. Why do we need laws? Do good people need laws? Moral codes? No. They are natural. They are spontaneously good. They will do good. But there are those, the fence sitters. They need some incentive to keep themselves good. They go put them in the kind of a cooler, as they say. This has been society. Every human being has both sides, the good as well as the bad. Both are constantly going. Society, in the sense of, when we decided to stay together, it is on the goodness of a human being that society is based. But it also understands there were jails and there were police from the very beginning. They knew that certain elements cannot be out in society. You cannot have that. So they had kept all these things kind of checks and balances. So compassion, you will find compassion, plenty of compassion, individual in some areas. In some areas, you will never find. When you see LA, what do you see? Oh, it's polluted, it's crowded, it's this, that, and that. But it is our perception. For a criminal, this is a fantastic place. Wow, we've got some gangs here that will shake even the, you can say, even those other big gang members. I don't want to name anything, anyone. It is society exists on multiple levels, multiple. You have saints here, and you have all the types of people here. You have gods also here, you have angels also here. We have all types of people. Why should society be just on one level? It isn't. You, like you have a huge underbelly of this in LA, the crime, the huge crime, and all that. So every city in the world, it's not only LA, every city, big or small, not only in America, everywhere, society exists on various levels. That because there are various types of minds. So you draw in those types of people to you and repel some people from you. But it's not a kind of easy thing. People talk about this yeah, political, you can say, philosophies and social sciences and this and that. No, they try to make it easy. It isn't. It's a very complex web, a net. Really amazing. So like I said, just it exists on many various levels. You will not find one thing uh, dominant. Maybe in a time of kind of a war or something like that, when everybody gets together, let's hit those guys out and push. uh, but generally, everybody is doing their own thing. Everybody's trying to grab, hoard, acquire. Everybody is trying to display their talents. This is what it is. So the place where you can really, you can say, manifest your goodness, your talents, is the place where you ought to stay, live. And if you can do that, at least in your surrounding, in your ambience, your neighborhood, you could do that. So people will look at that and learn. Oh, that's a good thing. Let's pick it up. 10 people will criticize you. 2 people might emulate you. But that's starting a kind of a chain. You will not get anything free in society. Nothing is free. You've got to. That's, like I said, no, there's no such thing as a free lunch. Nothing is free in this universe. So anyway, let's come back. He withdraw. Yeah, the deity withdraws it. So, and the Lord, the great self, the great self, we are all selves, and we have one self, the great self. We are on page 169. Great self, after creating again the rulers as before, presides over them. So you can say, see what happened. God also, he needs a few kind of assistants. Huh. Kind of certain parts of the universe, he lets some of these guys, you run it for me, and he presides over them, of course. So just because it's a take care. Yeah, yeah. She's not well, and yeah. Let us know what happened then. Yeah, yeah. Hmm. So creating rulers like before. Now, like before, in a sense of what? This universe is a kind of a replication of a previous. It was, yeah, that's very interesting. This tree is a replica of a previous tree, and that previous tree, that previous tree. It has kind of over the thousands of years has slightly modified itself according to global warming, climate change, or the acidity in the soil, or the humus, or the something. But it is a replica of. So this universe is a replica of the previous universe. The Veda says, Suryo Chandramaso Data Yata Purvamakalpa. The sun and the moon and everything was created. How? According to the previous creation. And that's the reason why we say there's no starting point in creation. If you can give a starting point in creation, you'll create big problems, philosophical problems. It's okay from Western philosophy, you can get away with it. Start. God created this world 6,400 years, something like that.
Think of the time.
Yeah, there was this like bishop in Ireland, Usher bishop or cardinal.
Well, according to Jewish calendar, it's about 7,000.
Yeah, there you have. Oh, 7,000. Oh, very good.
7,000 plus.
Yeah, 7,000 plus. So there's about 6,200, 500, 400, whatever. There's a lot of calculations. They broke their heads over it, and they spent one whole lifetime doing something which is wrong.
Don't we all?
So, and the dinosaur bones, and no, God has kept all those things to delude you. So, hey, so thank God all these things are being dismissed as, you can say, silly. Nobody's going to take them seriously. Thank God for science. Really amazing. So, as before, like we so there's no starting point. It's a continuous process. It's a evolution and then involution. The whole tree gets into the seed, and the whole tree comes out of that seed. You got it? It's a kind of cyclic process. The whole thing. If you stop creation, you've got to stop God. You cannot have creation without a creator. Both creation and creator are one entity. There it is. You cannot separate both together. God is there in that heaven and near. No, please. You are here. You are here. Your body is here. Yeah, I'm here. So God also is here in the creation. So this is one principle in Eastern metaphysics, like if God is eternal, God does not have a beginning and an end. Creation also will be eternal without beginning and without end. Keep on, but in cycles. Keep on. One cycle, two cycles, three cycles. Then not bicycle, just cycle. In the old days, we had those guys in the. I think in the circuses we have unicycle. Pedaling on one huge wheel. So you know, not a small one, just the clown used to. So you can imagine God like that clown and by pedaling down on that one. So and that deity, he makes all these things. He presides over each and everything. Presides over each and every function which has got sub governors, and the god of probably the rain, the sun and moon and everything, all these things. But here the commentator says the first progenitors of, we have all these old sages, So Marichi, Atri, Pulaster, Pulaha, Kratu, all these, they were the first. The creator, he got annoyed. He goes, "Oh." Because first when his mind was very placid and it's time for creation. 4 young boys came out. They were the first beings, mind born, sons of the creator. And the father said, "Go forth and create." Says who? They said, we are not interested in creation. So they went away and started meditating. They were the first 4, we can say, pure boys. 4. Sanat Kumar, Sanat Sujata, Sanaka and Sanat Kumar. All these 4. So the creator got annoyed. And then his annoyance had brought in a kind of a activity in his mind from the placid state to it. And 12 first progenitors emerged. Yes, Father, what do we do? Carry forward creation. Oh, yes. They were good. They were glad at it. So I was talking about a pravritti and nivritti. These are that circling forward. And those first 4 mind-born sons were the circling inwards. No way. So true stories, these people, they are wonderful Puranic stories. So the next page 170, it's a kind of a continuation of this very theme. I think I'll read it and then he shines, illuminating all the directions above, below, and others, just as the sun. In this way, that God or that deity, the effulgent and adorable one, rules alone over all those that stand as the sources.
Then there's what?
As the sources, as a source. Everything starts from a kind of a source. The seas and the plants and the animals and the birds, this, that, and everything. So he kind of oversees everything. Like the sun, which shines brightly, alone. So that sun, like the sun, this deity also shines everywhere. Now, there's a kind of we'll look at it the next time, but just next Friday, just to there's a sun out there. That's a symbol of the manifest reality. It's a perfect symbol. Everybody can see it, and it's the source of all kind of sustenance, all life. That sun out there, its representative here on earth is fire. Okay. And what sees fire? The eye, especially this Dakshina, the left eye. Now, why is this? In the Bible, is there that the eye is the cause of the light in the body? The eye, there's no eye, there's no light in the body. Something like this. Well, there should be. I've read it. You should. Hey, yeah, it's there. It's there. You better go and consult it. I'm not so wrong about it. So these things, the sun outside, the fire here, and the eye are linked. They are luminous. One sees the eye. But does the eye see by itself the luminosity? No, it depends on the mind. The eye depends on the mind. And does the mind depend on the heart, on the self? So we actually, that symbol out there, the sun, is a symbol of the manifested universe, God. Is the same symbol here, the fire. That's why we have the fire sacrifices. And that's why we have these eyes who see these things, but the eye rests on the mind and the mind rests on the consciousness. So all these are factors in consciousness. The sun, the fire, the eye, the mind, and that individual consciousness. So that's why otherwise you say, he shines like that sun. What does it mean, sir? What does it mean by sun? He shines, illuminating all the directions above and below, as does the sun. What does it mean? The sun of consciousness, or that consciousness which is there within. And there's nothing else apart from that consciousness. In this way, that deity, that effulgent and adorable one, rules alone over all those. See, everything that is source, everything that has a kind of a source, it is consciousness that is the source of everything. Without consciousness, everything is dead. Simple. So that is the repository. It is the nature of consciousness, that deity, that effulgence, that it is there everywhere. It's only, where do you go to see God? Here it is. One time Swami Vivekananda, his brother disciple Swami Premananda, he was going to perform the daily worship of Shri Ramakrishna. And Swami Vivekananda, he was sitting under that, his favorite mango tree. That tree is still there and tried kind of held up with a lot of supports. So he was there sitting, saying, where are you going to worship this? Here is the reality. And there was other few monks. With Swami Vivekananda, you can always expect somebody to be around. And Swami Premananda, his brother disciple, they were all kind of they not stunned or stupefied, but their minds were raised to a higher level, and they saw everything as that reality. Where are you going to worship? They saw that one reality pervading the whole of Belur Mutt and everything. The mango tree and the buildings and the grounds and everything was that one consciousness. So where are you going to worship? And they were all there for a while, not for a while, quite a while. And then their minds came down, and Swami Vivekananda, okay, now go and do that, finish that worship. So he went there. So if we can see that reality here, we don't need to do any kind of formal worship. Shri Ramakrishna, when his formal worship transcended those limits. He's saying, I was sprinkling, throwing flowers, not throwing flowers like a kind of like a madman at everything, not only the deity, the floor, the dorsal, this, that, everything. Well, he saw everything as consciousness. What do you worship now? So his worship comes to an end. That's the idea of a worship. So these Upanishads are speaking about that. You have transcended the limits of formal worship, and you can worship the whole universe. Where is the universe? The symbols are here, all these things. Worship is as consciousness. Then you can understand this who is there within, who is without. He has created, he is looking after all of us. And he is adorable. He is effulgent consciousness. And he will be there for us. He will be there for all times to come. And we will also be there for all times to come. Oh, yes. There's no death for us. No. Nachiketa, he goes to ask the god of death, since he should know, being the god of death, what is death. And the first thing he says, there is no death for you. And Nachiketa, all the trouble he took to go to that place, there's no death. This thing, this soul does not born, is not born, and nothing is born from it. There it is. No jayati and mriyati, there's no death. So what is this? So, as consciousness, we are eternal. We are one with that oversoul, that Lord. We have more or less identified ourselves with this and separated ourselves from that rest. The journey is to go back. That's the end. Go back to that consciousness. And then we will find immortality. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. So we can leave some time for questions.